Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Anti-Corruption Crusader podcast. In this episode, we're not going to be talking to any guests, but I just want to thank everyone that has been watching the previous podcast. I hope that you found their journey and insight into the anti-corruption space fascinating. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing my perspective on a recent tragedy that occurred in Bangkok as a result of the earthquake that originated in Myanmar. On March 28th, around lunchtime, a big earthquake struck Myanmar. It was about 8 on the Richter scale, but in Bangkok, the earthquake was reduced down to about 5 on the Richter scale. However, as a consequence, many high rises in Bangkok suffered minor damages. One building in particular had imploded or collapsed quite spectacularly, and this building belongs to a State Audit Office, which is a government agency tasked at auditing and ensuring transparency and compliance of many of the government agencies in Thailand. It was quite ironic that the SAO office was the only big building that had collapsed on that day. It is estimated that about 100 people are missing, presumed dead. 3 weeks on after the collapse, many agencies and media outlets are still trying to find out what went wrong. And there are a couple of reports from the media outlets that point to 4 or 5 key reason that could have caused this tragedy. First one, they suspected that the materials used for this construction of this building had been altered. Some of the materials were less or a lesser quality than the specified design materials. For example, the steel bars that were used for the structure of the SAO building were tested by the Thai Ministry of Industry and found that a number of rebars were not meeting the specification according to the news. More recently, there's been speculation that the compression strength of the concrete on certain areas of the building did not meet the design specification as well. Secondly, there were questions around the quality of the construction of the building. The lead conglomerate that were doing the construction is a partnership between a Thai company and a foreign entity. And they found that this foreign entity, while it's registered in Thailand, had 3 Thai key shareholders. And when the media outlets investigated into these 3 shareholders, they found that all 3 of them actually were living as an average Joe. One was an employee or used to be an employee of a tire and wheel shop. The second was a truck driver. And the third lived in a modest flat with driving a 20-year-old Toyota, allegedly. So all these point to questions around the quality of the subcontractor. And by the way, these outfit had one other large government procurement contract as well. Third, the investigation also found that many of the spendings on the FAO office itself was quite lavish. And this has nothing to do with the collapse, but because of the media were quite interested on how this building was budgeted, built, procured. They had uncovered quite a number of lavish and questionable spending. For example, the building itself is 30 stories tall and it has a 200-person auditorium design and halfway constructed. Other obvious lavish spendings were $5,000 sofas and several $100 shower head in each of the office of the senior executives, and spending on equipment, including AV equipment that were highly, inflated above the market price. So this points to a number of obvious suspicions around corruption, bribery, and the unusual procurement selection process. So What's quite unfortunate at this point is that after 3 weeks on, there's still no answers on what's wrong with the procurement process itself and the construction, as well as also the supervision, because recently the debate has been pointing at who was signing off on the construction inspection. And there were some minor and major changes to the structure design, and somebody had signed off on it, which later on was found that the signature on the documents were forged. So I guess the main discussion is what should be done to ensure that something like this doesn't happen. Well, it requires an urgent systematic changes, a radical one itself. Number one, we need to look at the procurement process and close all the loopholes, both in terms of the selection process. Well, many of the government procurement process selects the lowest bidder. In this case, see that the qualification of the partnership may be in question. How do we change the procurement and the bidding selection to account for experience, quality, as well as know-how in combination with the price? For example, the best qualified, skilled contractor may not be able to deliver the project at the lowest cost because, of course, they have to use quality materials, they have to hire quality contractors, they have to invest a lot of expense into quality assurance, for example. Secondly, how do we ensure that once the procurement and the bidding completes, the construction is according to the design and the plans? So in this case, the subcontractor had, I guess, subcontracted out many of the works to other companies. And it's quite usual for government contracts to be having the winning bidder subcontracting 4 or 5 times to the other companies. And the ultimate subcontractor that will be doing the construction is so pinched, and as a result would have to reduce the quality of the materials or make shortcuts on the construction so that they are able to survive with hopefully some profit out of it. So in my mind, the procurement process should select the subcontractor based on the skill set and the experience, and certain subcontracting work should be reviewed by a committee before allowing the work to be subcontracted. And thirdly, whoever you choose to inspect the construction needs to be unbiased. Inspection of the construction should be done by qualified professionals. If you have entities that design or entities that construct have their own inspector, that is quite a conflict of interest. So, and is able to critique and report abnormalities that they see, and also, make it clear that it's not acceptable. And lastly, in general, with these government construction projects, we've seen many accidents occur in the past, resulting in damages to properties and loss of lives. A month before this, there was a big collapse on a construction of an elevated expressway in Bangkok as well, resulting in several deaths. And it was found that during this construction project, the accident had killed about 130 people. So this is quite unacceptable to even have one loss of life. And it's a matter of taking engineering precautions and performing the construction such that if there's failure or an accident, such as materials dropping off from the construction, there would be safeguards to prevent any damages. So these are things that are urgently needs to be changed and revised and instilled into rules and regulation. But unfortunately, almost a month have passed and nothing is being done to any of this. They're still pointing fingers, and they're still trying to work independently on finding the root cause. So let's see where this goes, and I'll keep you posted. On the next podcast, we'll be talking to a professional that has journeyed through twists and turns against all the odds into the anti-corruption space. And I hope that you would find his stories intriguing. See you soon. Bye.